Welcome everyone to the August meeting. I'd like to call for any apologies. We've got one from Councillor Dixon and one from Councillor Crump. And
Helen Thomas, yes.
Okay. Can I have a mover and a seconder of those, please? Councillor Sherman and Councillor Adrian. Sorry.
That's fine.
Completely okay if you want to use that first person.
Thank you. It's easier. Okay, can we have confirmation of the minutes of the July meeting held on the 31st of July? Those that have read and could I have somebody confirm those? A mover and a seconder, please. Scott and Sean. Those in favour say aye. Can I have calls for declarations of interest, gifts received and conflicts of interest? Anyone that wants to declare? No, Neil, all good. Neil? Okay. So we have the mayoral minutes, which is on page 4. Would you like me to? I'll read that out because it's about the fire meeting, which we'll have a chat about again tonight. The General Manager and I recently met with Zone Commander Superintendent Tom Cooper and Duty Commander Matt Goldman from New South Wales Fire and Rescue to discuss a proposed operational change for the Bingra Fire Station. New South Wales Fire and Rescue have indicated an intention to transition the station to a tanker strategy, which would replace the current pumper vehicle with a tanker unit. Under this strategy, fire response would be managed by a crew of 2 as opposed to the 4-person crew required for a pumper. The change would result in Bingra relying on backup support from Morialda, Inverell and potentially more distant fire and rescue teams, as well as the rural fire service. While the number of call-outs in Bingra may be low, the potential impact of reduced local capacity during critical incidents is concerning. Community engagement efforts have previously included public meetings, information sessions and letterbox drops. New South Wales Fire and Rescue have advised that the options available are either to proceed with the downgrade or face closure of the station. This presents a significant challenge for the town and surrounding areas. I've consulted with former fire captain in Peakhill, where a similar strategy has been implemented. Their experiences reinforce concerns about the potential negative impact on community safety and emergency response capability. And we're going to have a community meeting talking about that. We'll talk about that at the community meeting tonight. And we're putting it out there. Currently, I've since that, I've spoken to, I did advise Tom Cooper that we're having the meeting tonight. At first he was going to attend and now he's sending an apology. And he said he will update us later on what is happening. We have a few of our local retained firefighters that have since joined and they will come. They're not going to be in uniform tonight. I'm not going to ask them to speak. I don't want to put them in a hard spot, but I spoke to our new fire captain, Robert Gilmore, today, and he's got quite a few. He said that look like they're interested. He's going to take them, him, the deputy fire captain, and Travis Allen, who have all joined. They're going to take them out to dinner just on their own accord and have a chat to them and try and put them in so we can get some movement happening there.
So what are the current numbers now?
I think we've got 5. We need 12. At the moment, it is
close to avoid.
No, I don't know how much will it. I don't think it will.
Roster, you need 12 is a full fire station.
Yeah. I don't know how many. At the moment, We are being manned 24/7 by, which is costing the government a lot of money because you've got they do 12-hour shifts. So you've got 4 sitting here from, I think it's 6 in the morning to 6 at night, and then another 4 come on and they're being paid. So it's quite a very big cost. And they're just sitting there.
I think they said about $1.5 a year. It is a lot of money. You can understand they're looking at the lowest incidences in the state and saying, well, we'll downgrade them. Is that what I was saying? I don't know.
But if we can get a few more, I've spoken to Peak Hill, to a man by the name of Tony, who was the previous fire captain at Peak Hill, and his reasoning for resigning, he said that they were unfortunate that they were told to meet at 3 p.m. at the fire station in Peak Hill, and they had no choice. They were told this is what's going to happen. Their advice was fight it all the way and try and get some recruits, because it is not safe with the tanker. We've got a pumper at the moment, and my understanding is the tanker doesn't have enough force to pump out if we had a major fire. Fire rescue is used not only for fires, they're also used, if there's a MVA, or if they often assist the ambulance as well. So yeah, I think it'd be pretty detrimental. So at least if we can say we've done as much as we can, then yeah. And Brendan Moylan he's an apology for the meeting tonight. He would have liked to have been there. But originally we thought we'd have it on Tuesday night, which is when he planned. And then when we changed it because we had the community meeting, he was unable to attend because of family circumstances. Okay, we'll move along to the Telstra mobile service disruption in Bingra. On Wednesday, the 13th of August, Bingra experienced another mobile service outage, which disrupted EFTPOS transactions and ATM functionality. Telstra has advised that the issue stems from a fault in the control signal responsible for switching from the mains power to the battery backup at the Bingra Batterham model site. Although the site has over 5 hours of battery reserve, the fault is preventing the expected transition. Initial diagnostics suggest the issue is not related to the battery units themselves. Telstra has committed to providing an update once further testing is complete. We are also awaiting confirmation of the timeline for the installation of the new mobile tower, and Justin's waiting on a call from Ian George on that.
Yeah, I tried to contact them this morning to get updates on all of them as of today. But the tower can't be too far away because I got an email requesting about inquiry about vegetation clearing up at the lookout for that.
I'd like to move that the mayoral minute be noted for information, and could I ask for a seconder for that, please? Mr. Chairman. Those in favour say aye. Officers' report dealing with items by exemption, which is on page 6. Can councillors please indicate which items they wish to be withdrawn for discussion and debate?
Yes, we listened to all of them.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Thank you. So we will just discuss them all.
Collins and Sherman, who's that?
Yes, sorry, Collins and Sherman, those in favour say aye. Okay, so we'll move right along. So we're moving on to item 7.2, proposed ordinary meeting dates for 2025 and 2026. I'll pass this on to Leah.
Really, that's something for you to consider. That's we scheduled in the meeting dates going forward. So it was something that we brought to the meeting for you to decide if you're happy with those proposed times as a council.
With plenty of notice. That's good.
Excellent.
Can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Scott and Councillor Shaw. Those in favour say aye. Page 10, we go to the executive services report.
Quite comprehensive there. Just happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I recommend that the report be received.
If there's no questions, may I have a mover and a seconder, please? Okay. Councillor John Gishton and seconded by Councillor Scott Crispin. Okay, moving along to Councillor's activity report.
Corporate and community services report.
Oh, did I miss that one? Sorry.
I know it's out of order, is it? That's Yep, sorry.
No.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely.
Sorry, no, I've missed it. So, yeah, any questions on, I think that's what's in everybody's calendar, that's all. And mover up and the seconder for that. Councillor Collins and Councillor. Okay. We're moving on to item 7.4, corporate and community services report. Helen's away today, so anything that anyone would like to talk about, Leah?
Let's have to answer your questions. If not, I'll take them on notice.
Can I have a mover and a seconder for that one, please? Adrian and Rachel. Thank you. Those in favour say aye. So we are moving on to 7.5, which is on page 42. And it's a technical services report. Anyone like to ask Alex any questions about it? Then we might talk about the Warrior Path and
You've probably all heard me talk up about road after yesterday, and we've still got 5 community meetings to go. So I'll save you the regular spiel. The CBD Park still only to be opened for the Honey Festival. Nothing's changed with that one.
Question. So is that going to be an official opening for that part?
Is in a ribbon cutting
Yeah.
opening?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Someone just asked me today and I said, I think so, but I'll check today.
Yes, we've invited the politicians to come along. We don't really have a time for it yet.
I was going to say, is there
We'll advertise as soon as we get the availability.
You got the bug after yesterday.
Since we got it.
Oh, no, I guess everything's up to somebody.
It's a ribbon.
That's the bar ribbon.
Justin's available for traffic control.
Something that I would like to discuss, which is not in the report because this report was written before the issue raised its ugly head, is the odour outbreak that we've had at Warrior Truck Wash. The staff made the decision to close the truck wash for a period of around 10 days. We've seen quite a good improvement in the odour. We've treated it with a deodorising agent along with some lime, and it seems to have gotten on top of the issue. As I stated in my email to all the councillors that I spoke about the closure of the truck wash, the key problem that we have is very, very high usage. if you look at the stats and pull the numbers out, for about 6 out of every 24 hours in a day, the pumps at that truck wash are running. We never expected the usage to be anywhere near that high. If we had got to half of that when we're in the planning stages, we would have thought this is a sure thing. We have a long-term fix in the pipeline, and I'm saying the pipeline, I think it could be delivered in the next 3 weeks. And I'd like the councillors in the room to give some consideration to leaving the facility closed until that long-term fix can be implemented. The odour outbreak we've had is the third one that has occurred since it opened, and I think it does present a serious amenity issue to people who are close to that truck wash. I know as close as, or as far into town as at least Market Street, the odour's been present. A closure for a week or so, we're happy to do at a staff level, but if we're going to leave it for another 3 weeks on top of what was already originally decided, I think that decision needs to come from this room. The pros are that there's no more inflow into the settling ponds, and the odour that's present today, which I'm led to believe is minimal, it was 0 last night when we drove past, will be what we'll see for the foreseeable future. The cons are the trucking industry that is using this facility quite aggressively. Nearly 200 trucks a month are going to be looking for places to wash down their trucks. It's a little bit of a rock and a hard place. My personal view is the amenity of Warringah residents should come in front of the convenience of the trucking industry. But if we were to close for a longer period, we certainly would be inconveniencing some local truckers specifically, which are the ones I think we should be especially concerned about, by not having a washdown area.
So what length of time are you proposing to extend it out to?
I would propose until the 4th week of September, which would be
A month.
Oh, yes.
Closure.
An additional 3 weeks from the 1st of, so we'd be saying it'd be the 22nd of September.
Oh, yeah.
Is this period when it's bad each time? Is it this time of year?
Typically is.
Yeah. And we've had a lot.
Overcast, rainy,
weather.
and increased usage. It's been a perfect storm for bad conditions.
Yeah.
And I'm led to believe that drought-affected livestock coming to our area from Victoria, Councillor Collins could probably speak to this with much more knowledge than I have, has been the reason for the increased usage. But we've also got a much better facility than Inverell or Moree, and
It's getting used.
it's getting used.
Just close it. Yeah.
So we'd need a motion and a mover and a seconder and a motion
Should go forward with those.
to close it for that forward.
till the 22nd of September would be my suggestion for a motion.
Can I leave the room for this one? Should I leave the room for this one?
Do you like the other?
No. I'm affected residents.
Oh, okay, I got up there.
You feel you should leave the room?
I'd like to.
Leave the room. Yeah.
Much notice, and how do we give notice to the people that use it regularly?
We can give notice directly to the Warrior-based livestock carters. I have contact details for them. We could give a notice to Myola. We could give one to Gunny Warreldi. I don't know how we could spread it much further than that.
It'll soon get around.
Yeah.
Anyone who carts to and from.
I'd say that'd be the three main groups to advise and out of courtesy let them know as soon as we can. Yeah.
What level of complaints do you get from about the odour?
It's been surprisingly low this time.
Yeah.
The initial complaint, the first complaint that I received came by Councillor Wilmot, who had people in IGA complaining.
Yeah.
He did mention that he could smell it at his residence, and I don't doubt that for a second. I drive past that truck wash twice a day, and I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that there is a legitimate odour issue which we have addressed 95%. I think it's the most, if we're risk averse, the best approach to take is to close it until we're dosing with a coagulant. That system's in place. We're going to have to close it to implement that system anyway because of the concreting works that need to occur. So there might be a week of downtime anyway out of the 3 weeks we're talking.
So closing it for the extended period of time will ensure that the odour will not come back for quite some time.
It won't be needed to get closed to happen.
Yeah.
And with some sunny weather, if we don't close it, I would give it a 50-50 chance that we'd have a serious odour issue on our hands before we were able to get the flagging dosing system. Yes.
So what's the fix you've got coming? Is that the coagulant, the dosing system, or what?
It is. Well, without going too deep into the mechanics of how the facility works, there's your washdown ramps which have channels that go to a central solid separating bunker, and there are progressively smaller screens in the solid separating bunker before the effluent enters sewer pump station. The sewer pump station goes straight from there to the settling ponds. We need to capture more of the solids on site, and by putting a coagulant spray system over the top of the entry to the bunker with some concrete work to encourage mixing of coagulant with the waste, we should be able to capture a significantly larger amount of those solids itself. They're regularly removed. We've got an agreement with a local farmer, and he can't take enough of what we've got.
What are the truckers' other options for truck washers?
Invrel and Moree.
Yeah, and so they're not quite as superior as that.
It's a nice way to put it.
The route that our truck washers on.
Yeah.
Probably gets traffic. If you ever drive that road, you not see cattle truck on it. So I think for the longevity of it.
Has there been any pushback in terms of the price increase?
Nothing.
So we could.
I think we're still cheaper than most other places.
I think we're actually at the pointy end.
Yeah.
Yes.
We definitely road.
Convenience, you see. The scenery and
The shower there.
toilets.
So the officer's recommendation is that report be received, and I've noted further that the Werribee truck wash is to be closed until the 22nd of September to allow for coagulant dosing to reduce odour.
Can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? John and Sean.
Although I don't get stoned by the livestock industry in my head.
We're doing upgrades anyway, so it might be worth going back to it. If you're doing upgrades anyway.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Yeah.
You're part of it. That's
If we just say, well, it's closed while we do it.
Now, truck wash didn't exist for a long time before it did.
No, it's going to be a bit late.
Yeah, the problem is you get another one.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions for Alex while we're on?
What about the cemetery? L'Oreal, the cemetery, the bollards look great. It's a great job. Question, if there's a funeral there, the chain gets unlocked so older people can get closer access to the graves?
I can't speak for whether that's being considered by the Parks and Garden staff, but I'll ensure that it's happening.
Any more questions?
Can you outline the works that have been done just out of Wariana, plus the bypass?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Happy to give an update on that.
Thank you.
We worked fairly closely with Stabilised Pavements Australia, who was the contractor that did that 3 kilometre section. There was a section 1 kilometre long that had 2 reworks on it. We had some fairly intense negotiations regarding what the rectification was. and the end result was councillors wearing a very small amount of the cost of the rework. And as of today, I believe all of the stabilising should be done. They'll be leaving in for a couple of days to dry out, and a final construction seal will go on. It's one of the ways that we've saved money. So the seal that was on the road when it was initially reconstructed and everything after that was what we call a primer seal. It's just a 7mm stone and a single coat of bitumen. You usually follow a few months after and do a seal with a bigger stone and rubberised or polymer bitumen. We're going to skip that step and we're going to go straight to a final construction seal. That's going to be at our cost, but we negotiated a warranty of 12 months for that seal. So the contractor's taken on some risk. They've managed to eliminate the primer seal from their costs, but we've been able to get a warranted final seal from the completion of construction date.
So they don't need to come back again in October, November to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a road shouldn't fail like that within a week.
No, it shouldn't. And it was interesting that the people we engaged for that project are the industry leaders in stabilisation. Sandstone is a pretty difficult material to work with at the best of times.
But if you're the industry leader, you should know how to work with.
Words to that effect may have been stated in the negotiations.
Yeah.
Look, I'm confident that where we've ended up is a position that hasn't disadvantaged council. I think it's disadvantaged our reputation because the average punter driving through that road doesn't know that there are contractors on the road. It's council road. It's probably been seen as a failure of councils, and that was something that we reinforced all the way through the negotiation period, and something that we leveraged to get them back as soon as we were able to. So it's done us damage on that front, but financially, we're marginally behind on what was already a good rate for the project.
Yeah.
Did you want to show them what you showed me? Tracking?
Can I cast to that screen, Justin?
It's a lot better.
You could.
Not when they just before they seal it.
It's got some rock in it.
It looks like it's going to stay.
It's not the actual meeting. It's a different way.
What if we just put it on cast and change the input, or does that feed off the?
While Alex, I haven't had a chance to mention this to Alex yet, but while Alex is chatting, because someone might receive a phone call. Had a phone call from one of the residents on Elkham Road, who is a truck driver and has a truck business, and he was concerned, actually wanted somebody's number, I was telling him Alex's, but he was concerned because he'd had phone calls from trucks because the highway patrol was turning trucks around that were going on Elkham Road at the top of the hill. And anyway, I explained, and he asked me what was going on, and I explained that this was probably because the road wasn't good enough for these trucks to travel on, and we had a fatality and all the rest of it. So I don't know whether that had been enforced. But anyway,
it's very unusual if that's happened.
Yeah. So this was a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't, I keep getting to mention it too. Anyway, this, when I explained to this resident that if we do downgrade that road, that it was because of the accidents and the trucks wearing the road, and he would still be able to use it because that's his place of residence, and anyone delivering cattle and sheep or, whatever, grain or whatever there would still be able to use it. And he said, I don't need any more explanation. He said, I totally understand, and that's good enough for me. I don't need to talk to anyone about it. So, yeah, there was, just in case anybody hears anything, that came, yeah. So he didn't want to follow. He thought that was a good idea. As long as he could get to his house, he was fine. And farmers could still get. So he was very understanding about that. Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Up on this screen, there's 29,480 lines of data relating to our jet patches. And this is a date and a time and a duration for every time the PTO on the jet patches that drives the emulsion and the stone coming out of the snorkel is turned on with a GPS coordinate somewhere at the end of it. What we're able to do with that is put it on a Shire map, and over the course of the last 2 months, we can see every bit of activity that our jet patches have done. And we've done the same thing. There's going to be more dots on the screen, you get the idea. We've done the same thing with our graders. We've been able to put some parameters in, and I've just find we've got rules. So with the grader, we've said if the speed is less than 12 kilometres an hour and it's been less than 12 kilometres an hour for 5 metres and the ignition is on, the text down there, then we can likely conclude that the graders have been conducting maintenance grading. So for the last month, here's a map of where our graders have been doing their work. What we hope to do with this data, it's got a lot of uses from a productivity perspective primarily, and also workplace health and safety, is to make this public facing, to give people a map or a video even, and say, here's what's happened in the last month, and have this sort of data presented. I think that it would go a long way to address the perception that council's not doing any work because somebody hasn't seen them in their particular neck of the woods. It will at least demonstrate that somewhere around, well, Road 10 was not was not touched, especially recently. Yeah, so that's just a project we've been working on in a nutshell. I'm quite excited about it because what we can do with this data to drive productivity of our own fleet, drive safety of our own fleet, and also demonstrate to the public our activities. It's pretty deep.
Should put one in my truck. I'm going to go with it.
You could do that.
I wonder whether that'd be something we could show at community meetings.
I'd be hesitant to do it in this round because I've literally learned how to do this an hour before the meeting. There could be mistakes to be found, but we'll eventually have this data, this technology rather, in our entire fleet. But the graders and the jet patches are things that are the pressure points with the community generally. Happy to disappear now and hand it back to the meeting.
Any more questions for Alex while we're here?
The Graves End business with the water, I appreciated the summary there because I got bailed up about the trucks. I'm wondering why that water was coming in truckloads to Graves End. So that explains it.
Yeah, that was really to avoid two issues on top of each other. The river was up, there was turbidity happening, and we didn't want to be saying you've got to boil in water while we were also experiencing elevated chlorine.
We'll definitely get asked at the community meeting. I've got asked by a few today. I was out that way.
I've started preparing already.
The Gravesend Oval looks great. I visited it today too. The fence looks unbelievable. Real asset for out there.
And the other often the volunteers then put that in. So the council does supply the fence.
The only other question I got from a meeting that I had to go to was for the toilets. We envisage keeping them open when the green space opens. They were told that one of the reasons we were going to close them was because of the bushes out the front where people can hide.
Can I clarify that one? The person who reported that reported incorrectly. that she asked me what would we be keeping them open. I said, oh, that's not a decision that's been discussed at this point. I said, but one of the things that needs to be considered is the child safety aspect of public toilets. And with that, she said, oh, well, so if we cut the trees down, will that help it? I said, it may do.
We've gone to the extreme. They've cut every single bush down based
Yeah,
on
they have.
So I don't know if that is a rule about toilets or not to my knowledge, but based on advice, they've gone down and cut every single bush down in front of the toilet, thinking that will keep them open.
But they were told, they were closed, and we asked them to reopen. We agreed to reopen them when the toilet facility was taken from the council chambers while we were building the new Butte toilets that are about to open in 2 weeks. But they've always been informed that they will be closed. They're a cleaning nightmare, and Corinda, they're fine to use them themselves, but council can't afford 2 lots of public toilets.
I think that was one of their biggest concerns, is that their volunteers need to have access to a toilet facility.
That's always been the case. They've always been able to use them, but they were closed to the public.
But they just have to maintain it. So if there are any volunteers in the
I think their biggest concern is the cafe, which I went to their meeting the other day and there were lots of paths to go to the toilet based from the cafe, I suppose.
Mhm.
People I've never seen before. So I don't know what the answer is. I know we've got lots of toilets, but it's just sad to see all those bushes cut down based on advice they've been given. And it's not going to keep the toilets open. They've been misled.
Mhm.
And they're going to ask me at the next meeting from my report here, what's going to happen going forward.
Did they say where the information came from? Or
There was a conversation between myself and Margaret Oak.
That's put me in an uncomfortable position, but that's what it was. Yeah.
Thank you. Would you like me to meet with them?
I guess explain, well, that's not the policy for starters. That mightn't help because they've cut everything down, but we don't want that story going around to every toilet block. They're all going to go out and cut their trees down because it's potentially going to shut the toilet block down.
Mhm.
I don't even know if that's a rule or a legislation.
I have been advised, trying to remember the meeting that I was at, that there is a consideration for public toilets about the safety aspect of child safety. So I was advised that they like to be in a clear, visible spot. If that's incorrect, I was advised.
The council is a child safe organisation, which means we consider child safety whenever we're designing anything. You may have heard that that's why we placed the new public toilet where we did, and how it's in an open visibility way, but nothing would have ever been said about Corinda because it was always to be closed.
The point I'm getting at is they asked me why I didn't give them that advice, and another councillor has. So it's
Okay,
put me in an uncomfortable position
understand.
when it might not even be council policy. So they've gone ahead and done something based on the thought that it's going to save their toilets when it's not going to.
I think that was back with last council once because of the cost of cleaning them and maintaining them, and that they would be closed once the new toilets were.
They didn't have sufficient disability access anyway. We were having to either modify that building to meet the standard or build a new one. And we were at one time looking at modifying the courthouse toilets when we thought we would be able to get access, and that didn't happen. So we built a new toilet block. But I understand what you're saying, and I will have a chat to them.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay. Any more questions? Yes. Well, can I have a mover and a seconder for?
We've
that
got
report? Oh, we've already done it. Yes. Sorry. Okay, so we'll move on to 7.6, which is on page 51. And any questions for Justin?
Probably about as standard as a report of Mine you'll get. The only thing that to note is that the landfill report will end up being Alex is going forward, even though it was in here, just for that confusion when we talked about it being changed. That's why it's still there. It was in the middle of the handover period, so otherwise, I don't think I've really got much that interesting.
And you've all had,
So the solar farm DA, that's gone to the planning panel
It's on exhibition.
on exhibition, but it will be,
It's state significant development, so
Yeah.
we're not the people that would make that decision. No.
yeah. So then the planning panel has a look at that.
Yeah.
Do we not have, we're basically hands-free of that? Or does it come back to us at some
We still do the assessment report that then will be recommended, and they'll do, then they make the determination on it. So you will see it first before it goes through.
Yeah.
But it's going to take time anyway. They said they won't even look at it till day 8. And then that's when we would do a team's consultation between all the players.
When's the solar farm meant to be completed? If it,
No idea. It's only the development assessment for it. It could, as long as they do it within I think it's a 5-year period, they start the term that to any good significance. It can be whatever.
I just watched it. I don't know if any of you saw in social media, but someone's accusing that one of the councillors owns the property and has an interest in it. So
It's council land.
I know that, but it's probably best to squash that rumour and put it on record that no councillor owns that piece of land, to my knowledge, because that's what the story is in some circles of Warrialda, that one of us are having a vested interest in that block. They didn't name the person, but I mean, there's not many of us that live there, so I mean,
It is council land.
yeah. Well, that's what I suggested to the people that, yeah, but they're putting it. It's easy to be a keyboard warrior, and that's what.
Yeah.
So,
sadly, we've got a lot of them. Sadly.
Who are these Fortitude Renewables? Do we know much about them?
I haven't gone too much into the history of it at the moment. They did come to us a while back with the proposal. I'm lacking information at the moment. Sort of shelved it until an 80-day period because there's nothing we can do with it until then anyway.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Justin? And you all had a look at the building, so it's good to go and have a walk through that. And it's all the windows are in and looks good. Any more questions for Justin? Could I have a mover and a seconder of that report, please? Okay, Councillor Scott and Councillor Mick. Those in favour say aye. Okay, we now move on to 7.7 on page 73, which is Council's investment report. Our CFO is off today, so assuming any questions, we'll go to our General Manager.
Yes, and I hope there isn't any difference. I'm quite happy to attempt to answer any questions you've got there. Our rates collections is always comforting to see how well we're tracking there.
We get to do it all over again.
how'd the letter go in regards to Warrialda Ryle? Did we get any feedback for that?
We have had some people change their classification, people that have up to 2 hectares, I think, classified differently, so that it impacted on how the rates were calculated. So that was it. I haven't heard any other feedback other than that.
So we had some success out of it.
Yes,
Setting it out.
certainly.
Sorry, I might have another go at this because Helen answered it once, but employee leave entitlement, $1 million. Is that just why do you just use a figure?
It's the figure that the auditors have agreed upon that we must put aside.
It could be more than that.
or less. Yes, it's changeable. It depends. For instance, it's probably less at the moment. We had quite a long-serving employee finish up recently.
Yeah.
So each time the auditors consider our leave liability, they will determine what we need to put aside.
You're right.
And so we're encouraged every year to get that down, and it's easier said than done when we've got works that require people to be driving graders, etc. They're often our longer serving employees and people in management, and to get them to take lumps of leave is operationally tricky. So that's why it's just a reserve that's put there to make sure we have the funds if someone leaves.
No, it's not the actual leave entitlement.
No, it's a sum that's determined as appropriate based on
Service.
Yeah. I'm really pleased with this.
Sorry if you did that. Yeah.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder for that report, please? Councillor Bishton and Councillor Sherman. Those in favour say aye. We go to item 7.8, Country Mayors Association Advisory, the men's table, page 76. Leah.
This is something I popped in here for information. It was discussed at Country Mayors, and Tib had it as an attachment to her minute. I thought it was something that warranted a special report for you to consider. If it's something that we want to progress, or just really to make you aware of it in its entirety.
Any questions?
They're going to start one, are they, in the corridor?
No, that's just an information that what other people are doing and what's out and about.
Maybe something you could start because it's.
There's someone here who wants to do something with me as well.
You're one of the authors of it, Nick.
Sorry?
You're one of the authors of the report.
I do two of them actually. I've got one in Tamworth and one in Inverell, and they work well. They're not called the men's table, but it's a similar thing. We've been doing them for 7 years in Inverell and 5 years in Tamworth, and we can get up to 30, 35 blokes.
Is that? Yes.
And is it like all ages, or is it?
No, they're all retired farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah, or retired people that have had something to do with trucks or.
Yeah. But this is not this.
This is
Program.
yeah.
Yeah. This is with the New South Wales farmers.
Oh, it's open to anyone.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is just something the Country Mayors is putting forward, so I popped it in for information.
That's good. Yeah, nice. It's important.
I do know back when the drought was on, Karen Bishton offered a yoga class for men. It was actually quite surprising, the farmers that came in and they were able to sit and they did their yoga and then they went on and had dinner, and that yoga class is still full.
They had something similar in L'Oreal, that Lorraine Reed and ran. And and it wasn't a planned thing, but they all would all go out, like their wives, and then meet up with them afterwards, and they'll all go out for dinner at the pub. And it's good social interaction.
Yeah.
It did not continue.
This is ours, the yoga one, men's yoga here. The class is full. I think there's waiting. Yeah, and it still goes. Sorry.
It's great information to read this. I personally have been dealing with an organisation called Talk to Me Bro, which runs men's mental health programs. I've been, the early stages, just as me as an individual in attempting to get them to come to Warialda. I've had people direct me where I can go to for funding for that. So seeing this other one come along, I'm going, oh wow, this is great that there's so many avenues coming into men's mental health.
Thank you. Can I have a mover and a seconder just that we've put that in? Yes. Councillor Coleman and Councillor Collins. Those in favour say aye. Okay, moving on to 7.9, work health and safety amendment.
Again, this is me letting you know about significant changes in legislation that impacts on our council operations and quite possibly our bottom line. So really, I will keep giving you this information as it comes across my desk so you're aware of legislative changes that may be reflected in our budgets going forward.
Needs officer's recommendation that this information is noted, and we'll have a mover and a seconder for that, please, unless there's any questions. Councillor Crispin and Councillor.
I do have a question. What's fundamentally the issue here? You're saying they're wanting to.
Fundamental issue.
Yeah, are they just saying they're looking at making changes to increase the cost base, or?
They're ramping it up. They're ramping up inspections. They are making it more challenging. No, not challenging. Safer
You're
for
right.
workplaces by investing, changing the way safe work works.
Yep.
They went traditionally safe work would knock on your door and look and inspect your sites, and then they went to an advisory type of role where they would support you with safety, and now it's back to that inspector type role is probably my primitive take on what that legislation's all about. And it will, council's reporting will be ramped up with regard to work health and safety as well in the future. So it's a positive thing, but agree with it.
Well, apparently they visited the work site down here at the building, council building a few times. They have done.
They have, and they've dropped in and seen our footpath people, and they've come up to our own team that are working on the interpretive centre. So that's how it used to be back when I was doing safety back in the day. And then Safe Work went to being an advisory body without inspectors unless someone was critically hurt or and now it's back to being inspectors, and they've employed more people. And it's got a lot to do with major incidents that have happened in local government in the past few years.
Oh.
Yeah, no. Oh, I thought we did. Sorry.
Started to.
Okay.
Mover and a seconder for that report, please. That report, that information is noted. So Adrian and Councillor Shaw. Those in favour say aye.
Now, the next report again is provided for your information. This is JLT, Jardine Lloyd Thompson, are our insurer, and they're really just making local governments aware of what they're focused on and looking at how performance is between the states and what for New South Wales, for instance, financial sustainability, cybersecurity, asset and infrastructure, disaster, catastrophic events, and people and culture have been the focus for New South Wales entities. So really it's a summary of how things are working across the nation and giving you an idea of the things that we need to concentrate on as an organisation.
Any questions? No. The officer's recommendation is that the information be noted. And could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Scott and Councillor Shannon. Thank you. Those in favour say aye. Now we'll move on to 7.11, request for assistance from Warialda Jockey.
I was contacted by Andrew Phillips, who is the president of the Warialda Jockey Club, advising that they have an ageing committee and it's getting more and more difficult for them to maintain the Jockey Club area, the race course, and wanted to know what assistance council could give them. The email there, I asked Andrew to send us an email expressing what they wanted, which didn't really define, wasn't very definitive. So my officer recommendation was that the responsible council officers meet with the representatives of the Warrior Jockey Club to discuss what is required, and that a detailed outline be brought back to you as a council so you can consider the associated costings.
So, member and seconder. Councillor Sherman and Councillor Nick. Those in favour say aye. We're going to run into difficulties. You'll see going back to the volunteers ageing. That's happening right across, and it wouldn't only be in our shire, but I think we've been really lucky in the whole of the shire with so many volunteers and organisations that are run by volunteers, and these people are ageing, and young ones just don't want to step up and take over, which is a bit sad, because I know in Bingra we have the Lions Club, who is sort of having a bit of a spell for the moment, and the amount of money the Lions Club has put into everything in Bingra is just incredible, and you'd never be able to put a figure on it. It's been so many things, and that's going to be really missed because they haven't got any volunteers, and we're going to find it in the north as we find it in the south. It's sad. So I don't know what we can do there to build that up, but anyway.
In drafting that report, I was quite blown away at the fact that the Jockey Club goes back to 1853. You know, and that was where the showground was originally, and there's a fair bit of history out in that patch of ground. So we will come back to you. I did say by the next meeting, but because the next meeting is the 11th of September, it could be the following. I don't think we'll have enough time to pull together that information, but if we can, we certainly will, so we can get back to Andrew as quickly as possible.
Now we move on to 7.12, Delivery Program Progress Report, January 25 to June 25. Any questions on this?
That is something legislatively we are required to report to council on progress against the operational plan. So you'll see that every quarter. And we didn't print the attachments, but I'm hoping you all had a chance to have a look and work through them, because they're the goals that are the objectives that were aligned to the budget for this year.
Any questions? Okay, the officer's recommendation is that this report be received. Okay, now I'd like to move on to... Oh, sorry, could I have a mover and seconder? Councillor Coleman and Councillor Crispin. Those in favour say aye. Okay, now we might move along to councillors' reports. We'll start with Sean.
So, probably all things we're going to find out in the meetings, their local meetings, cooler times coming up. So,
Thank you. Councillor Collins.
I guess another request or reminder about the parking spaces near the chemist, and any progress on those.
Yes. So we're doing in concert with the parking spaces in Warrialda, in Bingra, which have just been concreted. I would expect it would be this week coming, but I will fix it now.
We've already spoken about the water at Gravesend. We'll hear about it next week and the connectivity. I had a few of them ring up about that. Saw some today. After our last two community meetings, I don't know if going forward we consider other avenues of promoting it. I know we have extensively through social media, but I think talking to a few other people today that didn't know about it up the top end, looking at text messages and the old-fashioned mail drop, the two shops, North Star and Cropper Creek post offices, they're happy to distribute things to all the people that have mailboxes there and out on the mail runs. It might attract an extra one person, it might attract an extra 20, might attract none, but I think for the cost of it, which is virtually nothing, we consider it for next year to give more people notice, and then really no one can say they didn't know about it if we do it that way.
while you're on that, what are your thoughts when travelling around? Like if we did North Star 1 year and Cropper Creek the next year
In the evening.
in the evening, go back to the evening
Just do one.
and just do one and then one at the next one. What are the thoughts?
Some people be against it. So I can't really complain because there's only 4 there.
Yeah. And this is continuous, like it's not just this time. Anyway, just some food for thought. Think about it and we can discuss it
There's a lot
next year
of
when we
effort
go.
to get everyone from staff and stuff out there to the 2 places.
Because I know, so like last year, people, that's why I thought moving it to a lunchtime one and plus opening the road. Last year, it's sort of people were on headers or whatever and didn't come either. So I don't know. But anyway, let's not make a decision now, but food for thought when we're looking at meetings for next year.
I was speaking to Alex about it, but just so I put it on record, vegetation north to the north of North Star along the roads being raised as an issue by a couple of people, one person in particular up that way. Just so it's on record. There's 4 or 5 others that have received this email from Anne Willis in regards to us wanting us to consider the following. I'll give it to you so you don't have to write it all down.
Thank you.
Offering the vacant council land at the west end of Hope Street to developers for free to build more cheap rental units such as up near the pool. This would help alleviate the waiting list for a lot of single and aged people, plus it's relatively close to the doctors and town centre. And point 2, offer land next to Nauru for free to developers or a group of interested local retirees for over 60s accommodation, such as is available on the coast. Perhaps could be called Stage 1, rename Nauru Stage 2 and the hospital Stage 3. That was tongue in cheek. I know I would be interested, and I know of a few others who are now finding looking after houses and land a bit too much. I would prefer a smaller residence and to be able to visit grandchildren or travel and stay in Warialda, hence freeing up houses for sale for other people to move in. And lastly, council buy and demolish the old house near Captain Cook Park, Riverside, and create a co-op of people willing to finance and build a daycare centre 0 to 5 years in Warialda. There is probably some funding available for this sort of thing.
Thanks. Anything else?
No, that's it. Oh, thank you.
You mentioned the Gravesend telecommunication. I did get an email from me and George this morning, just saying that they identified a hardware fault in the tower. I have a technician scheduled, but they don't have time for restoration. So. And nothing update, but an update nonetheless.
I was there that there's no reception at all. The
Yeah.
office works. They have nothing else.
I received a phone call yesterday from Brendan Moylan, and he'd contacted them. He wanted to know whether Barnaby had been in contact with us.
If at the Drought Summit. Bush Summit.
Councillor Dean.
Nothing.
Councillor Shannon.
Mixed. As much as I had on my list. The parking issue, not sure if it's the same thing, but just that whole area. Is that all behind?
So we've got the front of the chemist and the back of the chemist to do.
Yeah.
That parking area behind our building needs a complete reline mark as well. I'm currently awaiting a response to a text message I've just fired into somebody.
Will that increase the number of parking spots in that area?
In the back or
The back, yeah. I know there's access issues.
I think by formalising what's there and getting a bit more compliance, it might, in a roundabout fashion, get more spaces, even if we aren't putting more spaces in. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
A little bit ad hoc at the moment.
Yeah, it's just with the childcare there now too. it's quite, I use that area obviously, but this was someone else that actually approached me about it. It's very difficult, and the staff at the primary school has increased so dramatically too that they can't all fit into school parking. So
I think that's an issue that the council needs to push back to the Department of Education on, is the lack of teacher parking and what the...
Well, it's going to become an even bigger issue once they put in this preschool into the public school as well, because they will use that, apparently they will use that back parking area as access. Sorry, at the public school, not
The car park area.
yeah. So that may mean there's less parking on the school road. I also attended the Tourism and Placemaker Forum in Glen Innes, which was interesting, a good networking opportunity. But Harry Reynolds attended as well, and Terry just again highlighted the amazing staff we have. They were just so into it and enthused out of it, and came away with a lot of really great ideas and discussed it all the way home. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. And then from that, I also then had an additional meeting with Catherine Nugent from Business New South Wales. And I believe she's going to send me a proposal to pass on to council, to see if council might be interested in joining their regional leaders program. I haven't received that yet.
Councillor Fishton.
I had a resident take me down the bottom of Spring Street. He's got a bit of land down there, and it's probably been talked about before.
Stormwater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, we drove on the side of the road, not the actual road, which is buried deep in vegetation.
There are a few. There's been a few different issues in Spring Street. Happy to look after the meeting on a map or look in person, and I can give you some information about what council's done in the past. One of the issues there is more of a neighbourly dispute than it is a stormwater issue.
Yeah, about where it's coming from. Yeah. Okay. It obviously becomes a bit undrivable when it's wet. Well, goes underwater too. That was all.
Councillor Wilmot.
Yeah.
I only had Anne's email as well. Bring up.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Now, it is recommended that council resolve into the committee of the whole with the press and public excluded to allow consideration of the listed items as provided under section 10A(2) of the Local Government Act 1993 on the grounds that reports contains personal matters concerning particular individuals other than councillors. So, moving to confidential. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Sherman and Councillor Collins. Those in favour say aye.
Madam Mayor and Council, I have a recommendation from the Committee of Whole. That recommendation is for a resolution from the Committee of Whole. That resolution is for item 7.1, confidential executive services report, and that information be noted.
In no further business, I declare the meeting closed at 4:06 p.m. Thank you for coming.